Well, good morning, and it's a beautiful, beautiful morning. It is Tuesday, October the 8th, and just a little side note, October the 8th marks the first day that Hezbollah started firing rockets into Israel and have fired every day for a year and continue to do so. So we think about Hamas attacking Israel yesterday, October the 7th, and the ongoing war that's taking place in Gaza. But every day since October the 8th, Hezbollah has been firing rockets into Israel. They've had to deal with that. Imagine just sitting and all of a sudden getting a warning coming up every single day, let alone what came from Iran in two events, April the 14th and a couple of weeks ago. That's incredible. And in fact, the total is well over 7,000 rockets have been fired into Israel. If anybody fired one rocket into the United States of America, we would consider that an act of war and go and annihilate them. But they've fired over 7,000 rockets in a year. And people are saying, do you think they're going to go to war with Iran and Hezbollah? What do you think? Do you think they have that right? The last barrage of rockets, 181 ballistic missiles. Never in history has that happened. Iran sent them direct from Iran. These things travel fast. These things make a big hole when they land. These things cause devastation. I think that's an act of war, don't you? I think if one ballistic missile was aimed and landed in the US from a foreign country, yeah, we would go to war, and we should stand by Israel. Another thing, David Jeremiah's book, The Coming Age, arrived yesterday. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Talks all about 31 ways to be kingdom ready. This is talking about the millennium, the 1,000-year reign where Satan is chained up in the bottomless pit, and what that life is going to be like for us. We're going to go now into the beautiful King James Bible, 2 Samuel chapter 14. Now Joab the son of Zeruiah perceived that the king's heart was toward Absalom. And Joab sent to Tekoa and fetched thence a wise woman and said unto her, I pray thee, feign thyself to be a mourner, and put now mourning apparel, and anoint thyself with oil. But be as a woman that had a long time mourned for the dead. And come to the king and speak on his manner to him. Joab put the words in her mouth. And when the woman of Tekoa spake to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and did obeisance, and said, Help, O king. The king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and mine husband is dead. And thy handmaid had 2 sons, and they 2 strove together in the field, and there was none to part them. But the one smote the other, and slew him. And behold, the whole family is risen against thine handmaid. They said, Deliver him that smote his brother, that we may kill him, for the life of his brother whom he slew. And we will destroy the heir also. And so they shall quench my coal which is left, and shall not leave to my husband neither name nor remainder upon the earth. And the king said unto the woman, Go to thine house, and I will give charge concerning thee. And the woman of Tekoa said unto the king, My lord, O king, the iniquity be on me, and on my father's house. And the king and his throne be guiltless. And the king said, Whoever saith aught unto thee, bring him to me, and he shall not touch thee any more. Then she said, I pray thee, let the king remember the Lord thy God, that thou wouldest not suffer the revengers of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, As the Lord liveth, there shall not one hair of thy son fall to the earth. Then the woman said, Let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak one word, unto my lord the king. And he said, Say on. Hello, bear. And the woman said, Wherefore, then, hast thou thought such a thing against the people of God? For the king doth speak this thing as one which is faulty, in that the king doth not fetch home again his banished. For we must needs die. And as our waters split on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again, neither doth God respect any person, yet doth he devise means that his banished be not expelled from him. Now therefore I am come to speak of this thing unto my lord the king. If it is because the people have made me afraid, and thy handmaid said, I will now speak unto the king, it may be that the king will perform the request of his handmaid. Thank you, bear. For the king will hear to deliver his handmaid out of the hand of man that would destroy me and my son together out of the inheritance of God. Then thine handmaid said, The word of my lord the king shall now be comfortable. For as an angel of God, so is my lord the king to discern good and bad. Therefore the Lord thy God will be with thee. Then the king answered and said unto the woman, Hide not from me, I pray thee, the thing that I shall ask thee. And the woman said, Let my lord the king now speak. And the king said, Is not the hand of Joab with thee in all this? Pretty clever guy, isn't he? And the woman answered and said, As thy soul liveth, my lord the king, none can turn to the right hand nor to the left, from aught that my lord the king hath spoken. For thy servant Joab, he bade me, and he put all these words in the mouth of thine handmaid. To fetch about this form of speech hath thy servant Joab done this thing. And my lord is wise according to the wisdom of an angel of God, to know all things that are in the earth. And the king said unto Joab, Behold now, I have done this thing. Go therefore, bring the young man Absalom again. And Joab fell to the ground on his face and bowed himself and thanked the king. And Joab said, Today thy servant knoweth that I have found grace in thy sight, my lord, O king, and that the king hath fulfilled the request of his servant. So Joab arose and went to Geshur, and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. And the king said, Let him turn to his own house, and let him not see my face. So Absalom returned to his own house, and saw not the king's face. But in all Israel there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty. From the sole of his feet even to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. Kind of reminds you of Saul, doesn't it? And even when he polled his head, for it was at every year's end that he polled it, because the hair was heavy on him, therefore he polled it. He weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight. And unto Absalom there were born 3 sons, and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of fair countenance. So Absalom dwelt 2 full years in Jerusalem, and saw not the king's face. Therefore Absalom sent to Joab, to have him sent to the king. But he would not come to him, for when he sent again the second time, he would not come. Therefore he said unto his servants, See, Joab's field is near mine, and he hath barley there. Go and set the field on fire. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom unto his house, and said unto him, Wherefore have thy servants set my field on fire? And Absalom answered Joab, Behold, I sent unto thee, saying, Come hither, that I may send thee to the king, to say, Wherefore am I come from Geshur? It had been good for me to have been there still. Now therefore, bear. Oh, where am I? Now therefore, let me see the king's face. And if there be any iniquity in me, let him kill me. So when Joab came to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. And the king kissed Absalom. Wow. You remember Absalom killed the brother who laid with the sister. And for such he went into hiding, and Joab missed his brother and, tried to convince the king to let him come back by deceptive means, by saying a story that this woman was to tell about some other people and what the king would do. And so the king relented and said, you know what? What I would have applied to other people, I should apply to myself, and offer forgiveness to Absalom. But he wouldn't look upon his face. It was still going to be difficult for him to know that he had taken that action and killed his brother, in spite of what his brother had done. But now we can see some reconciliation. But there's that description of Absalom, that he was, in fact, a beautiful man with long hair. And you might think that there's some vanity in there somewhere. We'll see. We'll see what story comes out of that. But the essence of this story is forgiveness. Forgiveness. As the Lord forgives us, so we should forgive others. Carry that one in your heart, forgiveness. Now, as you can see with Absalom, even though he was his son, doesn't mean to say that you gotta just go back and be buddy-buddy with everybody. You may have forgiven him, but you don't have to walk with him. And because you don't want to go back to the way things were. You don't want to endorse people's behavior. And so therefore, forgiveness is in your heart, and to them, there's forgiveness. But you want to create a circumstance where that act is not going to happen again. And, I've experienced that, and we can see that that's what David has chosen to do. He said, look, this may take a while, it may take forever, but for 2 years, he kept him apart, lived in the same city in Jerusalem, but he wouldn't look upon his face. He forgave him. He brought him back home. But he's like, this may take a while. It may never happen. And sometimes we have to live with that and move on with our lives. Remember, God forgives because God loves us. We're to forgive too. And remember, I love you too. Thank you for liking, watching, commenting, sharing even. Unbeknownst to me, Trish recorded my sermon on Sunday. And I put it on YouTube. I'm not putting out the link or anything. It's not under the King James Bible, but it's on my YouTube page if anyone wants to look. I was reading and talking on Matthew 24, the Sermon on the Mount and the Olivet Discourse. So if it's of interest to you, it's there. Have a great day. Speak to you tomorrow. Bye for now.